Hi, this is Jake, and you're watching Canadian Cutting Edge. Today, I've got a very economical knife to review for you. A knife by Rough Rider. This is the 3-inch Mini Muskrat, also known as the Dogleg Jack, as it's got Dogleg Jack etched onto the blade right there, laser etched onto one of its blades, that is. It's a two-blade knife, as you can clearly see. It's a knife that's got one backlock and one slip joint. It's a really cool little knife that has a lot of little features here. This is, I'm putting this on a Wee Wednesday because really it's a 3-finger kind of grip on this knife. So if you're interested at all in this knife, stick around, we'll do a tabletop review. The Mini Muskrat is one of those old school knives that we've all seen around. We've probably all got a couple of them. This is from Rough Rider, so it's one of those economy knives. You'll get this guy for $10 any day of the week from various vendors. I got mine from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. You can also get it from Amazon. I'll provide links in the description below. If you're in Canada, it's going to cost a little bit more than that. There'll be a link from Amazon.ca below as well. It's a knife that's easy to get, and it's a low price knife. And the one that I got is a pretty good specimen, and I'd like to tell you all about it. First thing is the steel. The blade steel is 440, also known as 440A. So if you see that designation for steel, 440 and 440A is the same thing. This is called a 3-inch knife, and that's because the handle is 3 inches. 3 inches, that's roughly 7.7 centimeters for 95% of the world. And it's a knife that has 2 blades, and both of these blades have the same length of cutting edge. Both of these blades have a nice little sharpener's choil. And both of the blades are 2 inches of cutting edge, which is 5 centimeters, very close to 5 centimeters, 5.1 centimeters, or maybe not quite. The blade number 1, I'm calling it blade number 1, it's got a clip point. So the blade comes out, clip point down, and then you've got a nice belly on the blade and a little bit of a flat area. I'm calling it blade number 1 because it's the show blade. It's the one that's got the laser etching on it. Blade number 2, it's sort of like a pen blade, a pen knife blade, and it's got the same 2-inch blade, 5.5 centimeters. And technically, it might also be called a clip point, but I'm just calling it a pen knife. It's got a very tiny little belly and a long, big, flat area. And as you can see right there, there's that tiny little sharpener's choil, and both of them have that. And that's really good to, when you go to sharpen the knife, the sharpening will terminate and not look ugly by having your sharpener scrape the edge of the handle, the edge of the blade here, and make it look ugly. So I really like it when knife makers put a little sharpener's choil in there. The cutting edge is pretty close to down the middle, so the grind is fairly even on both blades. It's quite good. I'm not taking any points off on that on a $10 knife. No problem at all. On the show blade right here, not only do we have the laser etching Dogleg Jack right there, on this side it says 440. There we go. It says 440 and then razor sharp steel. And then down near the base of the blade, RR1017. That's the model of this knife, Rough Rider 1017, and it's made in China. So if you're looking for the model of this, it's the Rough Rider 1017, and it's not the Dogleg Jack, it's the Mini Muskrat, and the Dogleg Jack is just sort of a nickname for this knife, and not the actual model name. I like the nail nicks that they did on this knife. It's very artistic. You can get a little close-up of this. They've got these little, I'm not sure what to call it, almost jimping in there. That little rough edge that your nail goes into when you go to open the knife, let's close this up here. So you can easily get your nail in there and open up the knife, no problem at all. Opens great. Lock up on the knife on blade number 1 is really good. Back lock works very well. For a knife like this, lockup is totally adequate, no problems at all. It doesn't come loose. And when you go to close the blade, it's not that hard to undo the lock. Blade centering is quite good. Blade number 2 is different though. On my specimen, the spring steel on it is too strong. It's too hard to open this knife. It's actually, in my mind, a little bit unsafe how strong the spring is. I'll close it and you'll hear this. That's pretty loud. You actually have to pull quite hard, and it's easy to have it slip out of your thumb when you're opening it up. And it's easy to get tempted to try to get in here with 2 hands. And if you get your hand in there with 2 hands and it springs back, it's going to be easy to cut yourself. How about the fit and finish of this thing? Well, we've got some real bone. We've got this amber jigged bone here, cut very well to size. So there's no big spacing where the bolsters meet the bone on either side. Very good there. The bolsters are done really well. So that looks good. I like the 3 lines that they put in, all of them, and they're evenly deep. The fit and finish work back in here, everything's pretty much even. It lines up very well. The pin work here to hold the bone in place is a little bit amateurish. They could have done a little bit better work with these pins, but it's not bad. The bone is held in place firmly. They're not loose, and they haven't come loose in any of my testing, so that's good. The one side looks very different than the other side in how much they burned it to make it give that dark look. It's a $10 knife, not a big deal. I'm not taking off much points for that either. How about how sharp are these knives? Well, let's try it out on a little bit of paper. So push cut, that one's not bad. Let's try the other one. A little bit worse, but then I should be fair. I did most of my testing with this blade, and this is after my testing. I don't really like doing cutting tests for reviews. Most viewers want them. All that the cutting test tells you is that the steel can be sharpened. If you have a knife and you've got a knife collection, you should be able to sharpen your own knives. And even if a knife doesn't come sharp from a factory, you should be able to sharpen your own knife. And so it's not really that big of a deal if a knife doesn't come terribly sharp, because, like I just finished saying, you can sharpen it yourself. It's not that big of a deal. That being said, let's still do just a tiny bit more testing. This is GT. Whoa, I wasn't even ready to cut that yet. This is just paracord, and I just cut through that, no problem. So yeah, it's nice and sharp for that. Let's try the pen knife blade. Cuts through that, no problem. What are the negatives about this knife? Well, I've given you the positives. I've given you one of the negatives, and that is how strong the spring is on that pen knife. One of the other negatives is this little lanyard thing. It's there just for good looks, but it gets in my way. It actually becomes a problem with it being in my way. So, bye-bye. And now it's gone. It's a little faux leather, and the little ball thing there, yeah, it's just a gimmick. I like the knife better like this. It has that little ring there, or that little bar, so you can put another lanyard on there if you wanted to, of some different sort. If it didn't have this ball on it and was just thinner, it might be better. It was going to come apart pretty easily anyways. I just ripped it apart. See how easily this stuff rips? I'm just ripping it by giving it a little bit of a pull. It was going to fall apart sooner or later regardless, and so the knife's better off without it. So what do you guys think of this knife? If you like this knife, please let me know. If you like the video, please click on like. That's regardless of if you like the knife or not. If you like the video, click on like. If you've got a comment to share, please share in the comment section. If you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe. And when you subscribe, don't forget to click on the bell so that you'll be notified of every single video that comes out. And YouTube will not unsubscribe you unscrupulously, which they have been doing to a lot of people these days. And don't forget to check out my big giveaway video. I've got a 1,000 subscriber video. I'll put a link to it at the very end of this video. If you look down and you see that I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet, at the end of this video, go to that 1,000 video giveaway and get in on the giveaway, because I'm going to be giving away 20 prizes to 10 winners. So thanks for watching. Remember, guys, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.